antioxidant extracts and cruciferous extracts, which in the winter we don't tend to eat an abundance of those foods. So these are standardized extracts giving you the protective compounds from those foods. But speaking about something that feeds the probiotics, feeds the friendly flora in our body, the fiber present in Fibermucil, that's one of the things it does. In addition to being the most wonderful product you'll ever reach for in terms of a mild, gentle tool for regularity, and there's no better fiber in terms of gently supporting your regularity. But also, the fiber present in this product is a natural food for the probiotic organisms that we want to sustain.
Fibermucil, it's, you know, we talk about loving to hate or hating to love. People are surprised by this product because they adore this product and how important it is for us. If you've tried other products similar to this in the past and you've not been happy, you're not alone. Many people have that experience. This is something that, again, you try to find a way around it.
No, as powerful as it is, it's equally mild. But as I always say, that it's sort of Mother Nature doesn't present us with problems for which she generally doesn't have a more than adequate solution. So unfortunately with our diet, we don't get a lot of fiber in the American diet. We tend to not drink, we tend to not also drink a lot of fluid, which I constantly try to do. Drink plenty of fluid because that's also a critical part of regularity. And the consequences of being constipated, say, if those are not the sorts of things that we want to embrace. A lifetime of being constipated is uncomfortable, unpleasant, and also associated with different risks to our health. So if there's a simple means of sustaining regularity, and that really is all about eating a diet rich in fiber, which virtually none of us do, and then we think green leafy vegetables rich in fiber. Unfortunately, not really. Salads, green leafy vegetables, not a great source of fiber. Better source of fiber are things like legumes, beans, seeds. Those are better. Legumes are a better source of fiber. And our Fibermucil, it's the mildest natural ultrafine powder psyllium husk fiber you're going to find anywhere, and it naturally allows your body, what it does is it naturally allows your body to use it to keep things moving, keep things flowing, and at the same time cleansing the inside, basically the colon as it moves through.
How many would you take?
If you're starting off, simply 1 or 2 capsules with a meal, with each meal. If you had 1 capsule with each meal, you might think that's so little, and especially you look at this product, it's pennies a capsule. But 1 or 2 capsules with each meal, you really just inch up on what you need, and this is not a laxative. This is not something that's going to have an explosive impact on you, and it's not going to cause gas or bloating. So it's just a simple, easy to swallow capsule, small, simple, easy to swallow capsule. And as I show you here, as I open this capsule, there we go, it's a small capsule, and it really is like dust, as you see. And the reason why, the finer that powder is, the milder it becomes. The finer that powder is, the more water and moisture it can absorb, and it becomes like this soft, gentle sponge moving through you. And we basically, what we want to have moving through us, we don't want rocks moving through us. We want a soft, gentle sponge moving through us. And that's what a fiber-rich diet creates, and that's exactly what this identifies it as. It's just a pure source of fiber.
Thank you for all of your orders and your calls. Pricing $60, $180, $360, $720 or the 1,000 caps.
Less than 9 cents a capsule on the large size. Just as I said, pennies a capsule.
All right, let's do it. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. The first of our 2 grand finale items as we round out 2019. I was so thrilled that the team did this.